Okay, everybody, so thank you guys so much for being here. We've got a guest speaker today, the amazing, the awesome AJ Soto. He has written numerous scripts there in AV production, just amazing all the way around. So let's give it up to AJ Soto to talk a little bit about script writing.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. All right, I'm going to be teaching you about script writing, as seen here. All right, so, well, first off, I want to ask a question. How many of y'all have A, read a script, or B, seen a script before, or know what a script is? Okay, so majority of the class. All right, so we're just going to go through this. This part should be pretty easy. All right, so a script is a written document or work that showcases and documents every movement, every action, every line of dialogue, everything down to the nitty-gritty, all actions that are made by crew or actors, everything. And basically, this is the blueprint. This is the blueprint. Everything that needs to be known or done should be in here. Someone, say crew cameraman, should be able to pick this up, be like, okay, what am I doing? All right, there, actor's walking this way. Okay, I'm gonna have to be here. Camera's gonna be here. Oh, they're gonna run that way. I gotta pan. So they should be able to know instantly on this. This has every detail. It should be like that. So, if you've never seen a script before, which y'all all have, that's what it looks like. It's at a weird angle, but it's there. All right. So, you're writing a script. What do? I call this the concept phase. What the concept phase is basically you're there and you're like, okay, I know I want to write something or I have an idea. How do I get it out? So, first off, theme and overall ideas. You have to come up with this, or if you already have the idea, fine. So you have to decide, all right, do I want this to be a serious film? Or do I want this to be a drama? Or do I want this to be terrifying and gut-girdling? I don't know. You have to decide that. Or if there's a moral to this story, if you want to make it to where the audience leaves and they're like, you know what? That made me think. I'm thinking about that now. Or, you know what? That made me question some things. You can do that too. That's your decision as artists and as writers. Your decision, not mine. Not gonna hate you for it. So, the script can convey a message. Use this if you want. The script can be a vessel. So if there's an overall message you wanna get out, say you wanna end bullying. How about it? So, you have girl. She didn't bully in high school, and what do you call it? She overcomes it. What's the moral of that story? Be yourself, don't let others bring you down, and stay strong. Boom, there's your moral. You could do that. Or it could be as meaningless as, there's this guy who walks around town and gets hit by pianos. The end. Both sides of the spectrum. Literally, sky's the limit. So, there's that. The script. The script should showcase all of the story, thoughts, and entire plot with no holes. No plot holes. Put this in your brain when I say it, because there is nothing more annoying as a writer, director, and actor if there is a hole in the plot and it gets so far to the point when you're filming or you're on stage and you're like, oh crap, this doesn't make sense. Like, how does it make sense? We have Bobby, say for instance, we have Bobby, he's walking down the street, got to another shot, he's walking down the street again, he has a milk jug. We don't know why he has the milk jug, we don't know where he got the milk jug. Now he's in another shot, he's dead on the floor. End. What happened? Who's Bobby? What did Bobby do? Why did Bobby have the milk jug? Why do we care? How did he die? Why am I watching this? Holes. We don't like holes here. No holes. Plot holes are bad. We do not need a film theory for these films, okay? Unless you want. So, no plot holes. It has to be thorough. And we'll get into ways to fix that later on, but your primary goal is to make everything make sense and everything flow, and the script should show that. Next thing, example of themes. You all seen movies, you've all watched shows, there's genres for literally everything. There's sci-fi, there's horror, there's comedy, there's dramedies, there's horror comedies, there's rom-coms, there's documentaries, and for some reason there's anime. I'm joking, anyhow. But there's every genre, So that's your decision as an artist, you get to make that. Have fun, sky's your limit. So, if you've never seen Psycho, this is a drama, or this is a horror thriller. Psycho, this is a horror, as you can see, it's obviously not an animated Disney film. Then you have James Bond, which is an action thriller. Then you have Independence Day, yeah, and then you got Mrs. Doubtfire, which is a dramedy. Are you able to tell the differences just by the way that they look and the essence that they have? That should also be showcased in your script. Hey, characters. This is Hannibal Lecter. Cool dude. Anyhow, characters. create original characters, please. Do not steal characters. We don't want to read your script and see that Mickey Mouse comes out of nowhere unless he's in the public domain, because we can get away with that. But if he's not, don't do it. Please don't. We don't need to be sued. As a person who's been threatened by Disney, it's not fun, so just try to come up with your own characters. There is a line, so there's a thing called parodies. So basically say, for instance, Star Wars, there's a parody of that by Mel Brooks called Spaceballs. So, say Yoda, you want to make a parody of Yoda. All right, well, you can keep the green aspect, or you can make him blue. Let's make him blue. He could still be tiny, do that, but make his name, I don't know, Bob. His name's Bob, he's green, or he's blue, and he's tiny. He looks like Yoda, kinda, but he's not Yoda. And he's inspired by Yoda, but he's not Yoda. You see? See what I'm saying? Inspired. Now, the line there is if you're like, his name's not Yoda, but then you have a little green guy who looks just like Yoda, talks just like Yoda, and it was referred to as Yoda. Do you understand where I'm going with this? Okay, we don't want to do that. I would say, just for y'all who are getting started, stick to original characters, come up with them on your own, because no one's going to sue you over a character you made. So, don't do that. But yeah, you can make them as unique or weird or funny or as mundane as you want. That's your decision again as an artist. And another thing you need to do in the script, this is overall, like this goes with the plot and everything, decide what point of view you want it. Do you want it first person where it's like, okay, you're following this guy, my name's Bobby, I'm over here, I'm going over here, grabbing coffee, oh look, I got coffee, oh, I dropped it, end scene. That's all that is. And then third person's like, narrator, so, as Bobby starts swinging at Barbara Jean, he farts, and then he dies on the floor, the end. That's third person. So, that's your job to decide. You can make a combination of this. You can jumble them all together. You don't have to do this, but whether you like it or not, or whether you know it or not, this plays a part in your script, even if you don't even realize it. So, it's there. Believe me, it's there. Next thing, you want to tie them, the characters, you want to tie them into the plot and the overall theme. They have a purpose for being there. They have a reason. Give them one. Even if it's just a person just walking in the background, just walking, they're still a person. They're still walking in the background of your script or film or play or whatever. They have a reason. You have to tie them in. Everything, it's like Chekhov's gun. Everything has a reason, and if it's there for no reason, that's an artist's idea, I guess. That's your choice. But everything should have a reason and contribute somehow. Whether it's an extra or if it's a main character, they gotta tie in somehow and bring something to it. Anywho, all right, so this is analytics. A typical script or film ranges from 4 to 6 main characters. Again, that's your decision. If you want to have 50 main characters, have at it. Have fun finding actors for that. If you want to have one, do that. If you want to have a bunch of main characters where it's not one person that's just the main character and you're following the lives of multiple people, that's also cool. It's been done before, but it's cool. And then supporting actors or extras or supernumeraries, 1 to 13. That's usually these. This is just a range of what is the usual. You don't have to follow the usual. Do what feels right and what your artistic minds want to do. So, yeah. All right. Plot layout. This is a great deal of advice. Please listen to this. This is extremely important and will help you if you want to do this for reals. So, plot layout. If you're writing a script, make a little diagram. It could be on a Google Doc. Put every idea, every detail, everything that you have knowledge about that you want to put in that script, put it on a doc. Of course, organize it, because then you got to be able to understand it. But put it on there, and then you want to plot it out. So be like, okay, we have Billy Bob. He's fighting Barbara Jean, and he has milk, and he dies. That's the plot. How are we going to make this make sense? That's your job to tie this all together. So Billy Bob wakes up. He's born with superpowers to make milk appear in his hand. And then, he dies. That's why he died. Oh, and then he gets sent to hell and he has to fight Barbara Jean. That's why that makes sense. It's kind of like filling the plot holes. That's what that's for. So you have to understand it. Think about every detail from the beginning to the end. Now, once you get used to writing scripts, this will come naturally. Like with me, once I get an idea, I see this just might be my mind. I might be just psychotic, I don't know. But I see every detail. As soon as I get the idea, from the beginning to the end, every line of dialogue, every script movement, everything, down to the periods and exclamation points. I can see it and I can feel it. So once you get good at it, it might be different. Everyone's different. Everyone has different writing styles. But think about every detail And if you don't know it all at the same time, that's fine. Just write it down as you go. If you get an idea, oh, that's nice. Let me go write this down. Just do that. So you want to think about that, every detail and everything that you want to express and shed light on in the script. All right. Make sure, this happens so much. This happens a lot with people who write scripts for the first time. Make sure to keep the plot and overall theme and or moral with the theme and or moral. You're not gonna write a documentary, which by the way, you're not supposed to write documentaries. I mean, you can, but you're not supposed to actually come up with them. You have a documentary about how unicorns are shooting donkeys and riding on Indiana Jones. Makes no sense. I mean, you can do it. It's not gonna be, it's gonna be interesting, but it has to tie together. So if you're writing a horror script, it's gotta be scary. Yeah, there could be some comedy in there. Yeah, there could be some kind of drama in there. There could be some sci-fi elements, but they have to tie together. They have to make sense, and you have to express that and portray that and convey that as a writer. So you're not stressing the actors and everyone else under the sun. So yeah. All right, and then finally, this goes in with the plot. Decide what challenges, climaxes, obstacles, everything that the, the topics will go through in the story, and what you're gonna convey. So, say for instance, this is a classic story, The Boy Who Cried Wolf. The topic is, or the moral is, don't lie. What does he do? He lies. What happens at the climax? He gets attacked by the wolf and no one believes him. That's your climax right there. So you have to decide what obstacles and what morals that you want in the script. So let's say, for instance, we're going back to Billy Bob. Billy Bob has to kill Barbara, right? He has to kill Barbara. How's he gonna do that? So it's your job to find the path to him killing Barbara. I'm not saying kill people named Barbara. I'm saying figure out how to kill Barbara. Anywho, all right. The script should have a clear structure. It should not be hard to read, and if you read it, it should be easy to understand. I mean, there's always gonna be one person that's gonna be like, this has confused me, or no. You don't want that to happen. I mean, there's always gonna be someone to say that. That's your job as a writer and artist to take that in, think about it. If it has nothing to benefit from, you cannot benefit from it whatsoever, throw it out. But you want to make sure that it is easy to read and that it makes sense and it has a clear structure and it's easy to follow, because you can't make a film with just a bunch of scrambles of information. So there's that. All right, next. This is my favorite part, the nitty gritty. So this is formatting. This is gonna be tedious for some people if editing is hard for you, but this is that. This is formatting. So as you can see here, this is a fake script. This is not real. Please do not attack me. I wrote this up at like 3 in the morning last night. All fake. So your script title, your first page. This is with every script, every screenplay, every stage play. You should have the title up here. Or in some cases, this is what I do. I actually design posters similar to this. So I design a poster for my film, and it'll say the script title right here, and then maybe like a slug line like Indiana Jones, dun 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 dun. That's not his catchphrase, but you can do that. And then you can put written by so and so or da 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 da, and you put that here. But in most cases, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. Just write the name of the script. So your script would be called Hot Beans. Write that there. So, and then what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna put written or created by. So if you wrote it, right, written by da 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 da. If you teamed up with someone and wrote it, written by da 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 and da 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 da. If someone wrote it, but someone came up with the general idea, so like say someone came up with it, like created it, and then you have a writer, so created by blah 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 blah, and then written by blah 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 blah. So you're gonna want to put that here because you need to give yourself credit, and if you work with anybody else, give them credit too. So, all right, then if you flip on this page. So the second page is going to look like this. So most scripts have this. There's different formats and different ways. Since this is on a piece of paper, there's sometimes where it looks like this, and you'll have one page here and another page here, and it's kind of like a book. But in this case, it's just a single thing. So, and this is how you'll print your scripts. So with that being said, it should include, as you can see here, let me scroll. All right, like this. It should look like this. So you have the characters' names. So obviously we'd have Billy Bob, Barbara Jean, and then you're gonna have their names here, all the characters' names, even if they don't have any lines. If they are mentioned in the script, their name should be here, because the last thing you wanna do is be on filming day and then be like, oh crap, we have like 50 extras and like only 5 actors. Oh, whoop-de-doo. We don't want to do that. So mention if there's a person mentioned, write them down. Or if they're actually seen on camera, write them down. If they're mentioned, you don't have to do that. But then what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna put the actor's name. So let's say, for instance, Nix. You're gonna play Barbara Jean. So we have Barbara Jean's name right here, right? Barbara Jean, ... Nix. You're gonna do that. And let's say, for instance, Kaylee, you're gonna play Bob. You're Billy Bob. So Bob, ... Kaylee. And for instance, say if you don't know, say you have another character, his name's George. So we have George. We don't know who's gonna play George. So what you'll do is you'll just put ... And you'll make sure it lines up perfectly so it's easy to read. And once you find out the actors, whoever's gonna play them, then you can go back and edit it and so forth and so forth. But it needs to look like this so you're able to know, okay, how many characters do I have, and do I have an actor for them, and do I need a cast for them? This is going to be easy, or this is going to be very helpful for you as the writer. It's going to be helpful for whoever's directing. If someone's overcasting, costuming, blah, 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 blah. It's very important. So make sure to do this correctly. Next, go back up here. This is optional. This does help a lot if this is your first time writing, or if you're just an extremely detailed person. I do this, not every time, but I do it for most cases. You can, if you want, you can include the character's name, and then you write a description of that person, a backstory, basically a little summary as to who this person is and what they do and why they do it. And that lets the reader understand, okay, so this is why they do that, this is how they act, this is how they are. Number 2, it lets the actor know, okay, so I have to act like this, I have to do this, I have to portray them as this, and I have to come off as this way. And then overall, that's going to make the viewer understand the film better and make it believable and realistic that, oh, these are people and they're different. They're all different and they're not the same. And they have reasons for things and they're actual humans. So you can do that. That is optional, but I'd highly recommend it, especially if this is your first time writing, or again, if you're a detailed person. But you don't have to do it. It's just helpful. Another thing, the script should always be easy to read. When you're acting on a stage, you don't have time to be like, oh my gosh, where's my line? Where's my line? Where's my line? We still do this. We still do this a lot because we're blind as a bat. But you don't want to do that. So you want to avoid that as best as possible. It should be easy to read. For example, this is from an actual script that I written. So basically, we have what's called a slug line. We'll get to that later. And then we have stage notes or screen notes. And then we have down here, line. My name's Rolf. I'm playing Rolf. It's in bold. Oh, look, that's my line. Okay, I'm gonna read this. Next line. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. It's easy to read. Are y'all able to read that? Are y'all able to? Yeah, okay. Now, some people, and this is what irritates me as an actor and a writer and an actor, is when it's all squished together and there's no spaces. So it's interior. We don't want that, because then as you're going along and you're reading, you're like, okay, this one, it's hurting my eyes. 2, if I'm on the go and if they're about to call action and I'm like still looking and searching, that's gonna suck because you don't know what you're looking at. So if you organize it, you space it out, you make it easy on the eyes, 1, it's gonna be enjoyable for the person to read, it's gonna be easier. 2, it's gonna be more efficient. So we wanna do that. Now, slug lines. Told you we're gonna get back to this. A slug line. Does anybody know what a slug line is? Didn't think so. So, basically, when a scene starts, so let's say, for example, this. So, camera opens up or curtain comes up, scene starts. Interior. Interior means it's inside of a building or inside of something. For example, let's say, okay, interior, the restroom. It's day. So we have, oh, look, Barbara Jean's on the toilet. Oh, now she's done. All right, now she's walking over here. That's a scene, right? We need to know, where is this? Where is Barbara Jean? Why is she on a toilet? Where is the toilet? What time of day is it? Who is Barbara Jean? Why do we care? So you put this here so that everyone understands. And this also helps whenever you're changing scenes, because you don't want it to all just jumble together, because 1, that's gonna suck for the writer and for the cameraman and for the editors and for the actors and for just everybody. So just do this. So you always put interior, so INT, and then period, and then where they're at, the name of it. So like say Walmart, or Alex's room, or the restroom. And then you're gonna put a dash, always put a dash, please, And then you could either capitalize this or you can leave it plain. I leave it plain because I'm lazy. Day or night or afternoon or morning or whatever. Or I don't even know what time of day it is. Period, question mark, question mark, question mark. And it'll work. And you do that so that everyone knows. And what you're going to want to do formatting so it's easy for your eyes to read, space it. You want to space it out from this. We don't want these two things to be touching. They should never be touching. It should be boom, slug line, meat and potatoes. So basically this is the bun. We don't want, I mean, in the case you do, okay, point is, these don't touch. Okay, and then you're gonna wanna bold this a lot in script and formatting. You're gonna wanna bold and italicize things. So this should be bolded, which is, this is naked text. You see how it's not slanted, it's not underlined, it's not colored, it's just plain. This is formatted. This is clothed text. So it's bolded, it's bolded, and then it's italicized. Italicized, so like this is what a normal text is, and italicized is when it's like that. You wanna do this so that it draws attention. You have a question, or you raise your hand, yes?
I thought it was the other way around.
What do you mean?
It's that way.
I'm not being specific, I was just saying it's slanted. I know it's, give me a minute, 1 second. Okay, so it's like this, yeah. Okay, yeah, so, yeah, all right, so on my arm, it's like this, but to y'all, it's like this. Does that make sense? So, okay, we're just gonna continue. Anywho, but you wanna do that so it makes sense and it's easy to read. And when you go to the next scene, so it'd be like, let's say this is a scene, right? We have da-da-da-da-da, Barbara Jean, she's in the restroom, it says that. Do-do-do-do-do-do, off the restroom. Well, I'm done using the restroom now. Then you're gonna put period, that's the end of that scene. You're gonna start the next scene exactly how you started this scene. Exterior, the restroom. Now she's outside of the restroom. Day, it's still day. So now you're gonna put, we see Barbara Jean exiting the restroom. So now, we were just in here, now we're out here, we see her coming out here. That makes sense? I hope so, because if it doesn't, so, that's how you do that. So that's slug lines. Then screen notes and directions. This, you can play around with this. So, screen notes and screenwriter's notes. This is like an author's note, like if you ever read a book and it has like notes as to like the author's little message before you read it. You can do that, or you could have any writer's notes, directions, costume notes. This would be a place for that. So like, for instance, say I wrote Indiana Jones. I wrote Indiana Jones. So I'm gonna put, after this, I'm gonna put, this is set in da-da-da-da time zone. It should be accurate to this time zone. The characters should look like this or speak with this kind of accent. Any detail that you think is significant in any way, even if you don't, put it here. If you think it's gonna come up later, just put it here. And you wanna put it before it actually starts because you don't wanna be halfway through the script or the play and then out of nowhere see a big old paragraph about, oh, the costume should look like this, and oh, his buckle is like that because his mother did that. We don't need that. So you put that at the beginning. And with stage and screen notes, this is how that's gonna look. So this is in a screen format. In stage, it's similar, but it's different words, it's worded differently. So in this case, you always want to put it in caps. We don't like naked text, in caps. You put it in the caps and you indent, always indent. You indent it and then the notes, they're gonna say like, camera pans to the left and then we see Barbara Jean running down the street with toilet paper in her hand. Wonder why? You're gonna write that there. And then you're gonna write other things like the lights are flickering on the street and things like this. Basically everything that the camera's gonna see or that the audience is gonna see, describe it here. So if Barbara Jean's running down the street, there's a rock on the floor, uh-oh, she falls. Don't you think the camera's gonna see that, or don't you think the audience is gonna see that? Write it down. And in this case, whenever you're mentioning a person's name on the script, not the story, but the script, because there's the story, like the actual what's going on in the story, and then there's the script. It's like I just said. So what you're gonna do is when it's mentioned in the script, you're gonna have the character's name, for Barbara Jean, and it's gonna be bolded, all caps, and italicized, so that when you're flipping through the script, you're able to see, okay, where's Barbara Jean? Okay, there we are. That's my line, or that's my cue. You do that so it's easier to read. And same with lines. So if it's stage notes, you italicize it, you bold it, and you cap it. And then stage notes, or lines, you're going to start the line off with the person's name, all caps, bolded, italicized, and then you're going to put a little dash and then treat the lines like quotes. So quotation mark, man, that rock really hurt. I wish I didn't run out of the restroom that fast, period. Then you're going to put another space and then you're going to put another quote. And you do it like that so that you know what's lines and what's stage notes and what's tones. So you do that and that makes it easier for everybody. Yeah. Then useful dialogue and engaging dialogue. So this is more of an editing thing, but it's still formatting. If there's a line in the script, it has to have some kind of purpose. If you're in the middle of a scene and there's two people arguing, like, I hate you, you suck. They're the only two people in the room, and all of a sudden, Billy Bob pops up and is like, bananas, and then boop, they disappear, and we don't address it. What is that? If we don't address it and it's there for no reason and you confuse the audience, that's called plot holes. There we go. So we don't want that because we don't like holes. So you fix that. You can do that either here in formatting or you can do that editing later. That's up to you to decide as a writer. But you don't want to do that. Every piece of dialogue, everything should have a purpose. It's like Chekhov's gun. If it's there, it has a reason. So with that, formatting and bolding. So bolding and italics and layout. So whenever it's a line, you have person's line, like I told you. And say, for instance, this person's line. The actor, the line is, how scandalous. You want that person in this scene. So like say someone just said something mean to them, and that's their line. And you as a writer be like, you know what? I want them to say that sarcastically. So they'll be like, how scandalous. Or I want them to say that cutely. How scandalous. Or I want them to say that in terror. How scandalous. You write that down and you put it in caps before so that they're able to know, okay, I have to say it like this, or I have to portray the person like this. You do that. And then another thing, this is so important. Again, this is an example, spacing. So you have line here, next line, space. Then you have indent, notes, and then another space, and then you have more lines. This is also important. If in a scene, you want there to be like say, for instance, the people who are arguing, after Bob pops up, that's a little weird. They're going to be silent. So they're going to be like, you want to take note that there's silence there. So what you're going to do is put a pause, or silence takes place, or the room falls silent, or the room falls dark. It's like the stage notes, or the screen notes. You put it there so that you know. Save your questions for the end, please. Please. Okay. All right. And then finally, if you look over here, if you turn to the last page on your little mini fake script here, if you look at the last page, you always want to end your scripts with the end, or fin, which stands for finito, or finale, or to be continued, or Barbara Jean will return, maybe, period. You do things like that, that's your decision, but usually it's the end, or to be continued, or fin. And you do that, you bold it, you don't cap it, but you just bold it, and then you put a period, and you space it out. So that everyone knows, okay, that's a wrap, that's the ending, it's done, the story's over, or okay, that's it for now. You do that so that you know when to stop reading, and if there's more information, which there should have. So, there's that. Now, editing. This is a little dramatic. We're not gonna be doing that here, unless, I'll get to that in a minute. So, once you're finished, so like, let's say, you're finished writing the script, you're done. Now, what you're gonna do, this is what I do, this is my advice, I'm gonna tell you how to do this. Once you're done writing the script, take a minute, take an hour, take a day, take a week, take a year if you want, and then come back to it, and then read through it again and be like, okay, because then, you know what, your mind's now fresh, you've now done things, you've slept since then, you understand things, you've done things, da-da-da-da-da. So now when you go back and read this, you're gonna be like, okay, this is good, but I could do this better, or I could change this, or oh, that's a good idea, or you know what, this is kind of useless, let me get rid of this. And in that time, you could this also helps, print out the scripts or share the scripts with other people and get opinions from them in that time where you're taking a break. Let your mind go elsewhere while they're reading it or while you're done writing the script in between that time, so that whenever you go back to it, your mind's fresh. You're fresh, you get fresh ideas, you got a fresh point of view. So you do that, and it makes it easier. And once you're done, what you're gonna do is you're gonna read through it again and you're gonna make edits. So you don't want anything to be left unedited. So like formatting, this is terribly formatted if you couldn't tell, and this is a grown up, like this is an official script from Fox, like 20th Century Fox, and it's disgusting and I hate looking at it. A person made this and got paid for that. Just think about that. But formatting, it should be different. So what you're gonna do as a writer is you go through, and if there's any little grammatical errors, or if you forgot to bold something, or if you forgot to add something, don't let it slip, edit it. And you're gonna wanna keep an eye out, like I said, for inconsistencies or unnatural dialogue or grammatical errors or plot holes. This is a great opportunity for you to fix plot holes, like the Billy Bob situation with the banana. We don't want that, or any missing details. You wanna fix it. This is an opportunity to fix it. Back to this. In this case, we're not going to be writing on the actual scripts. I say this, I mean, you can. If you're the director, you're a writer, and you are actor, and you have notes, you can write it on here, but make sure to remember it. Or if you're the writer and you're editing by hand, that's okay to edit by hand, but make sure as soon as you can to go back to the doc or wherever you wrote it and make those changes. Because the last thing you want to do is be like, okay, yeah, this is the final script. I have it all edited here. Uh-oh, there's a breeze. Oh, it got ran over. Oh, it got eaten by a dog. Oh, well, crap. Now we're back to square one. You always want to, if you edit on paper or on something physical, make sure to go back and change it, because you will either forget about it or you'll lose it, or just bad things will happen. So just do it when you can. Now, in y'all's case, Lance has assigned y'all 3 to 5 pages. So when you're writing scripts, if there's a max or a range of pages that you need to have, try to go with it, try to abide by it. But that does not mean write the story and then right in the middle of the story, end it on a cliffhanger. Doesn't mean that, unless it's intended, but don't do that. So you're not gonna write a story right before Barbara Jean's about to stab Billy Bob, right before, and then boom, that's it. We don't want that. If you write 50 pages, like if that's how far it took you, have at it. Do it. Let the story take you there, because it's better to have a full, dense story that's entertaining and makes sense and that's artistic than having just the first 5 pages of that and nothing making sense and you're so confused and you hate it. You don't want that. So and again, this is a tedious art. It's hard. If you don't like it, it's understandable. I'm not gonna be mad at you. He's not gonna be mad at you. No one's gonna be mad at you. But in this case, you gotta do it. But it's supposed to be fun. And if the story takes you to a place, go with it. If you don't like it, you can change it. Just go with it. See where it takes you. But yeah, in y'all's case, 3 to 5 pages. But if you go over that, perfectly fine. Now, rehearse and plan. This goes for both screenplays and stage plays. Planning is more screen, and rehearsal and planning are more stage. But depending if it's screenplay or stage play, it would be best to rehearse the script. Now, in screenplay formatting or whatever, in this case, if it's for film or television, or if it's being recorded, you're going to have what's called a table read or a cold read. And that's basically where you get all the actors, all the crew together, and they sit at a table or they're on a stage or whatnot, and they're all going through the script and they're reading, they're practicing, they're going through it. At this time, as a writer or an actor, that's your time to be like, okay, this needs to be changed, or I don't like the way that they said that, let me write this down, or let me fix that. That's the time for that. So rehearsing and planning is beneficial, because if there's a mistake, or if you change your mind, or if there's something you want to change at all, this is the time to realize it, because the last thing you want to do is be on set or be on opening night and be like, oh crap, this doesn't make sense, or I don't like the way you're doing this. Uh-oh, curtain's going up. Oh, he just yelled action. So you don't want to do that. In some senses, you can fix them in the moment, but it's better as a writer to address it beforehand so we're not having problems on stage or on set. Again, like I said, print out the scripts or share the scripts. You do this and you give them to the actors or anybody who's going to be involved with it, so that they're able to analyze it and fully take in what the material is and that they understand it. You don't want to give them the script day of filming. You don't want to give them the script day of opening night. In some cases that happens on opening night, but that's not a good thing. That's not a goal. We're not trying to do that. but you want to have them have enough time so that they'll be able to be like, okay, I need to memorize my lines, or I'm the cameraman, I need to figure out a plan. So like if they're running this way, camera needs to be here and it needs to pan this way. Or I'm the actor, I have to be over here and stand right here for when the piano falls on me. That's the time for that. So you always want to print these out or share them with the actors and crew so that they know what they're doing. This is also a good opportunity, like I said, to find any remaining errors or plot holes that you can fix. Remember, if you write it down on here, or if there's a mistake or a plot hole or anything, make sure to go back and change it on the original doc. Don't do this because you will lose it or you'll forget and it will go wrong. Do not do it. Don't forget. Make sure to change it. All right, and in a minute, we're gonna do a little practice cold read. This is fake, don't attack me, not real, not a real script, but we're gonna do a cold read of it. So, conclusion, I'll leave you with my final thoughts. Remember to have fun. This is supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be creative. Again, it's not for everyone. It's a very tedious and difficult and very hard to maneuver art form, but after a lot of time of doing it, it will get easier, and I can confidently say that, because at this point, I'm just able to get an idea and I'm able to see every detail from the beginning to the end. And it might not be like that for you, it might come naturally, it might never come, but that's your job as a writer to figure out your style. If your style is like, okay, I got an idea, okay, let me think about this, I'm gonna take a day. Take a day, come back. Okay, now I have another idea. Let me finish this. It doesn't have to be, oh my gosh, I have an entire idea for a script. Let me go to a computer before my brain explodes. You don't want to do that. I mean, I do that, but you don't want to do that. That's not good. So just remember to have fun, be creative. Do not steal other people's creative works. We are artist people. We don't do that. I do not want to see that Mickey Mouse is punching Batman in the gut in one of your scripts, unless it's in the public domain, because then we can steal it. But if it's not, no, we do not need to be sued. So be creative, have fun, be original. Get multiple opinions. What I do is every time I finish writing a script, I take a day, of course, because I'm exhausted. I don't sleep. So once I do that, I finish and then I print out a bunch and I start sending it to people. I'll send it to Lance, I'll send it to my actors, I'll send it to people who I respect their opinions and I know that they're not gonna lie to me. Don't give your script to people who are gonna sugarcoat it to you, because the last thing you want is them to be like, oh, it's so good, I enjoyed it so much. I really loved that part that I don't remember because I didn't read it. And then you record it and you film it and you release it or you perform it and it's garbage. You don't want that. So it's better for them to be rough. Now, if they're just being plain out disrespectful, take in what they said, and if you can't benefit from it, disregard it. But if there's actual critique there, okay, analyze it. Okay, maybe they might be right. Let me try and see if I can do this. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, don't do it. But get multiple opinions, because more brains are better than just one. So ask for help when needed. I am always here. I've been doing this for a long time. I got you. I will help you. If you have any questions, you get to keep this paper. It's a template. Everything on this paper has a reason, and it tells you what the reason is for. If you need any help with formatting, editing, anything under the sun, I am here. I will help you. I'll gladly answer your questions. Lance will gladly answer your questions. Some of the people out there have been doing it just as long as I have, or they're brand new to it and they're just as good. Ask them. We're here for you. Don't struggle, because the last thing you want to do is to have a really good story and idea, but you don't know what you're doing, and then you don't get to tell stories. That's what we are as humans. We love stories, we love storytelling, so we need to be able to do that. So if you need help, ask for it. And finally, again, writing scripts is difficult. It is difficult at the beginning, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes easy and it becomes fun, it becomes an art form. Again, you might not like it, you might not enjoy it, might not be your thing, and that's perfectly fine. Everyone's different. But this is an opportunity for you in this class that could lead to a career, or maybe a hobby, or maybe something that you didn't think you could do before. So it's nice to translate nice things. And before we do this, leave you with a final thought from one of the greatest directors of the 20th century, Alfred Hitchcock. He's directed a lot, he's an Oscar winner, he's really cool, master of suspense. And his quote is, to make a great film, you need three things. Number one, the script. Two, the script. And finally, the script. You cannot make a film without a script. You cannot. I promise you, it will be terrible, it will be horrible. You will be pulling your hair out and ripping your teeth out. It is not going to be fun. So remember that.